Hi, welcome to the Singletrack Session number 87, part of the TrailManners podcast. We are back in Bomber Studio.
Yep.
A little bit different. I look over and there's like a cushy massage table.
I know,
over there.
right? That's the reason we came back, because I have a stretch session right after this.
Oh, that's where the magic happens.
That's right.
Nice. So if I sit outside the door, I can hear screams and stuff.
No, it's all about feeling good. No pain.
No pain?
No pain.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back in Bomber Studio. Boy, we've got the last week, but now it's crunch time. We're just super swamped, busy.
Yes.
But we're squeezing our single track in. We'll get to that in a minute, but we'll just touch on a couple things. There's a lot of races this past weekend, unbelievable amount. A lot of them are overseas, and actually one of our Ask TrailManners questions, man, I loved it.
Yeah, it was
like
good.
It's a thought-provoking one where I actually sat up most of the night thinking about it.
Did you?
Because, yeah, I mean, let's face it, me and you are passionate about trail running. We've been in it for a long time. We love it. We follow it. But by no means would we ever say we're experts in elite, right?
No, certainly not. I don't follow the results as closely as maybe I should.
Yeah, but I mean, we're honest about it, and we're just a couple guys that do have a little background or history in it, know a bunch of people in it,
right?
But there's by no means by what we answer on Ask TrailManners is biblical, right? I mean, it could be open for interpretation a lot of times.
There you go,
and which is awesome, right?
Fluid.
But let's start off by probably the big one, which and there's I just have this soft spot for one of these individuals as well. But the Ultra Trail Mount Fuji took place this past weekend,
right?
Which is a big race, and it's been picking up steam every year. It seems like.
Sounds like a cool race.
It does. Sounds really rad. It's just I just chuckle when I see results sometimes, especially when I see Courtney DeWalter on the top.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, settle down. Right? I mean, she's killing everything.
Oh, I know.
So these are highly competitive races.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't like, a small first year.
Nope.
Let's see how this works. So she won the women's race in 23:57.
Yeah.
And the next female was 2 hours behind her.
That's pretty significant.
That's significant, especially when you're talking about international competition and you're talking about how competitive these races are.
Yeah, especially the ultra trail world. Those are supposed to be the most competitive races in the world now.
Well, on the men's side, it was, the winner who we'll talk about, he won it with 5K to go, and it was like a 5-minute difference from first and second. So that just kind of gives you a different perspective of two things. One, how dominating Courtney is. Yes. And two, just where's everybody else, right? It's like, okay, where are we? So, as we mentioned, Courtney DeWalter won 23:57. So she's won like 4 races this year already. Took second at one, so she's doing pretty good.
Which one did she take second in? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It's like a week after she won something, I think. I can't remember, and I should, and I'm sure someone out there knows. But yeah, so she's doing pretty well for herself. On the men's side, this is one so when I was part of the Pearl Izumi Ultra team, kind of managed that team. Just getting to know all these athletes was amazing. But we had one athlete, Dylan Bowman, who is the most, I don't know, being around him is just awesome. He's just a fun guy, not a mushroom fun guy, but like a fun individual, just electric and just so personable. So anytime I see stuff with Dylan, I get excited because I know the type of person he is. Right. But he won in 1921. And how it played out is, the gentleman, I wish I had the second place guy, but he was out front all day, like crushing it. And with 5K to go, Dylan passes him. Nice. That's amazing to me.
Ultra stalker.
Yeah, right? It's just like, okay, I'll reel you in when I'm ready.
103 miles.
Yeah. Isn't that
102
crazy?
miles. He's sat on his heels, right?
He just took it.
That's being patient.
Super pumped for Dylan. If you check out anything, like I think he's got I don't know if he's got an athlete page or a personal page, but I follow him and we're friends on Facebook. But the stuff he posts and writes is just so...
He's a good guy.
Eloquent. Yeah. It's just like so personal. It's not like I'm better or elitist. It's like, this was awesome. I feel fortunate.
He does have a blog.
Yeah. And so
I think he's big on the Twitter.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a Twitter guy. I try, and I wish I was because there's fun stuff. Like people show me like stuff Mako does.
People are like super committed to that platform, right? But it seems like a lot of people switched over to InstaKitty. Yeah. And they're both fine. Yeah.
I'm just not a Twitter guy. Yeah. I wish I was. But yeah, congratulations to both of the Americans for going over and doing really well over there. It's super cool. And there's a lot of other ones. There's the Madeira race that happened this past weekend.
I didn't even pay attention to the results.
Well, I saw the results, and again, just with the week we've been having, I didn't dial every single line item in with all the races because there was a lot. Zane Grey took place this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Lost Boys 50K in California, and supposedly it's last year.
Really? Why?
I guess low entries because of all the races this time of year,
and that's too bad.
And permit prices.
Now, is this Lost Boys based off of the movie? Do you remember the movie Lost Boys?
Oh yeah, that was pretty rad.
It's got to be based off.
It's in California.
It has to be.
But how long was Lost Boys out? Was it been 20-something years? Because this race has been going on for like 29 years.
Lost Boys is mid-'80s, right?
So probably pretty close. It could be.
Oh.
But
awesome.
And everybody talks about how amazing the race is, but just with the low entry and then how much it costs to permit that certain race.
Yeah, we get it.
We get it.
We get it.
Yeah, we get it. Everybody wants a piece.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just a lot of races going on this past weekend, and it's hard to keep up with all of them and who's running and who's not running. And,
right.
And the significance, because it's like I don't want to say these races are too small when we're talking about a Fuji, but there's just a lot.
Miwok's coming up.
Yeah, and we're just not.
That used to be huge.
That was the Mama Jamba, right, for years.
I'm sure they still sell out, but
that was the 100K.
That was like the last prep race for Western States for most people, right?
It was
back in the day.
And it is, like Joel said, it's still an A race, but it's just
I'd
different.
Like to do that eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one is the one. All I remember is Scott Hyner. He's my source, but he run it, and he's like, man, there's just stretches of that are is it Poison Oak, Poison Ivy,
that's
one of the two.
The reason I don't want to run it, though.
And so I see all the photos. Every year you'll see photos at the finish line. And here's the thing: if I have a pair of shorts or a pair of socks that got it on there, people are like, how do you wash it out? How do I wash it out?
Throw it away.
Toss it in the trash.
Exactly.
It's not worth it.
Away.
It's not worth it for me,
Exactly.
I don't take my favorite pair during that race, right? But yeah, there's just a lot of races going on. There's one coming, another one coming up this weekend that we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. But we got a lot of play this past week on social media, which was a lot of fun, is your trail noodling experience. And it was pretty funny because there's some skeptics.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, why did you do that? Are you not being safe and everything else? But it was fun for me because I was far away.
Yeah.
But what would have been funnier, though, is if you'd have scared me and started shaking your arm and screaming, I would have ran. I would have just took off, man. I'd have just, because it reminded me of the old school Flash Gordon where he sticks his arm in that tree stump and hope that thing doesn't sting him.
Right.
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like,
that was
dude.
So good.
And if you would have started yelping and hollering, I'd have been gone. I'm like, you're on your own, buddy. But it was pretty funny because we saw Preston Wood, we saw Ben Wallace and Ben's brother out there, and we were that's where the kind of came across because it was a brand new hole.
Badger hole.
Yeah, and there's a couple badger holes just on that section.
Very fresh badger hole.
But yeah, so it's trail noodling, so it's kind of a new thing, right?
That's right. You stick your arm down that hole, and you're not sure what you're going to get.
You're not sure what's going to get inside.
Is
it going to be like a bunny?
Yeah,
that's right. Pull a bunny out and say, look how cute. Or is it going to be the bunny from, Monty Python?
Yeah. Could be.
So, yeah, that was pretty good. Then I want to throw a thanks out and a props to Jeremy Haddock for doing my first clip tie challenge.
That's funny.
That was super funny, and he was all decked out in TrailManners. And, hey, did he not look good?
He looked dapper.
Svelte, too. Talking
good.
to him, he's been doing, because he had a question a few weeks ago about eating and all that, and he's dropped some LBs, man.
Looks good.
He looks really good.
Yeah.
I think he's...
Ginger fit.
He's svelte. Ginger svelte. But looking great. So thanks for posting photos of that. We didn't get a whole lot of feedback on the new TrailManners swag. We're just getting I heard people, I got a comment of a shirt with taper up on it.
Yeah, tanks. Saw that.
And then we saw tanks, but again, it's still, what style? Because it's hard to pick. Because
you don't go with the spaghetti strap. I don't think that's really
that's
good
for home use.
For good running support.
Yeah, that's an after party, TrailManners after party.
Yeah, that's right.
Because one of the things someone mentioned, it'd be cool if you guys did Patagonia duckbill hats with a logo. And here's the problem. Here's the problem with Patagonia. We're not allowed to buy stuff at a discount to sell, right? So if we were to do hats, we got to go full retail.
Yep.
Then whatever our cost is to put that on there, and then we'd have to throw a couple bucks to make it worth our time. So by then the hat's $50.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, we're not gonna sell $50.
So that would be tough because that would be awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've thrown a TrailManners logo on my duckbill hat.
Right.
But yeah, it's just we need to get ideas of what would be cool brands or styles, right?
I don't know. You just got to find that tank.
That's what I'm saying. And I think there's people out there, especially the ladies, you guys have better feel for that, for the ladies' tanks.
Yes.
And is it a all-use tank? Is it something you could wear to a music festival and then run in the next morning or vice versa? Or is it just a running tank? That's the other question, right?
Good question.
So, yeah, keep those coming. Didn't get any information on sunscreen, so I'm going to get burned again coming up. And I didn't ever find that Kickstarter one you spoke about that the elite runners are pushing.
That was huge a couple months ago.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. So I'm going to have to keep doing some deep dive. I'm going to have to do some.
It was on I Run Far. I know that. And
they
sponsored like one of their race coverages.
Okay. That's what I'll have to jump into.
Yeah, I have to go back,
figure that
back in their archives.
And then last Wednesday, a huge thank you to the Ogden Marriott. Surprised me. We had our the 25th of April, we had our 22nd Street Trailhead TrailManners trail work cleanup.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there in the parking lot, and the Ogden Marriott, a shuttle bus pulls up, and I'm looking at it going, oh, great, we're going to be they'll be running and we'll start to do trail work. And they come up, are you in charge of the trail work? And I'm like, well, it depends on which one you're here for, because I knew there's a couple going on. And the lady comes over, we're here for the TrailManners one. I'm like, well, then that's us.
Yeah.
And they had about 7 or 8 people from Ogden Marriott that showed up. So they helped out. And then we had a killer show up. We probably had close overall to 20 people.
That's great.
So we cleaned up the trailhead, all the trash we could. And then we went out on the trail, did lots of trimming, which is needed on this trail. Yeah. There's still more to be done, but we just ran out of daylight and time, personally. But I need to apologize. I feel horrible. Garth Harris.
Garth got left on the mountain.
Yeah, so I was, kind of running the whole thing, and there was about 20 people there, and it was about 6:30. Yeah. And we were calling it a day, and so I'm checking everything in, putting stuff in the shed, the tools, and I had my daughter, so I headed home, and I get a text from Garth. Hey, I got left out on the trail, and here's where the stuff is. Man, I could not tell you how bad I felt.
Right.
It's just, I knew, because people left early.
Yeah.
And people are out on the mountain, on the trail, coming and going. The Ogden Marriott people left, and I didn't know they were gone.
Right.
And so I just, my fault, assumed everybody had gone because we met back. And so I feel horrible, but Garth, thank you so much for all the work you did as well. And I personally apologize. And I know I did it on text, but, man, I'm so sorry because I appreciate you showing up, and I apologize that happened. But, man, had a great turnout. Everybody that was there kicked butt. We had some people that I'd never met before, and people, of course, that we know. There was and I don't want to leave names, but Preston Wood, Ben Wallace, Dan Wallace brought a crew out. Jason Child, person that's always followed, he showed up. It was awesome to meet him. He's actually volunteering this weekend at the Trail Festival. So there's just a good group of people. Obviously Garth was there. It was fun, and we got a lot done. So thank you for showing up and doing all that. Let's just jump right into the Trail Festival this weekend. Okay. So we've been buried in trying to get everything done.
Yes.
Scrambling, making sure we got everything taken care of. We're still working on a few things. So here's how it works. We get excited for 8 months for this thing.
Yeah.
How it unfolds. And then 2 weeks before, anxiety kicks in.
Oh, huge.
And I've laid off the ice cream for the last week and a half, so I feel really good about myself. Yeah. That's my go-to when I'm stressed.
Right.
I haven't had time to be stressed because of everything going on.
Right.
But, yeah, we're on crunch time right now. I think we're good to go.
We're really close. Just a few more details.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. Yeah, there's some important ones coming through, but I'm really excited. This launches on, Thursday, May 3rd. So the day before Friday night. And just so everybody's aware, we got about 20 tickets left for Friday night.
Yeah, the Friday one is, I'm still a little nervous about Friday.
Yeah? That's the one I'm not even worried about.
For some reason, there's something that's making me anxious about Friday.
As long as the beer's there, I'm good.
I'm okay with that.
If Ricky doesn't show, I'm fine still, as long as the beer's there.
Okay.
I'll just put on, I'll just act like I'm him. There's some people that may not know.
Okay. For some reason, I'm still anxious about that. I don't know why.
I'm good to go. Saturdays where I'm anxious, just because there's so many details.
There's a lot of details.
You got the course marking, then we got to set up the kids' K course, then we got all the checking in, then we got the vendors that are going to be there. Yeah. There's just so
Once
many
everything's
things.
Set up and we start checking people in, I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah. It's just a lot. It's not just a race. It's like a whole weekend.
3 races.
Yeah, and a whole weekend. So it's a lot of work, but we do have a good list of volunteers. We still, if you are going to be around and want to show up to say hi, please do. The expo is going to be awesome. We've got so many cool people that are going to be there. Plus, if you want to help out, you have some time, probably won't turn you away. We probably could find a role for you.
We sure can.
And all the people that have volunteered, thank you so very much. Again, this cannot happen without volunteers, or we would just be wrecked.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, we got a great menu for the food.
Yeah.
Street tacos and good ones with beans and rice.
Full plate's $5.
Full plate or a buck of taco.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna have to bring like $40.
I know.
I'm walking out of there bloated.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's gonna be a fun night. Please, if we haven't met you yet, come say hi to us either day. Right. I mean, we're never too busy. Please stop us no matter what we're doing and just say hello, introduce yourself, because we'd like to meet everybody. And we're just excited about this whole thing. And once again, I'm excited about Sunday just as much as I am Friday and Saturday, because Sunday means I can take a breath.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Sunday. Take a big breath and do some stuff that I've been putting off.
Yeah, that's kind of where it's at, because it's been crazy. But we're super excited. It's our second year. List of amazing sponsors, and the fact that a lot of them are coming from out of state. The Putts guys are coming down. The Putts crew guys and gals are coming down.
Yeah.
We've got Elevation Culture, who's not a sponsor, but they do our finisher medal awards, and they are amazing. In fact,
a pleasant surprise.
I'm being surprised because we haven't seen the Friday night ones yet for Transamericana.
Oh, we haven't? Oh,
no,
shoot.
This is going to be a huge surprise. But
I saw the Gib Wallace one and the kids.
They're so awesome.
They're so cool.
But he's coming out. He's coming from San Diego to the event.
Yeah.
Chris from Squirrels Nut Butter, one of my absolute favorite people.
The Chief Lubist.
He is, man, and he's coming from Arizona, bringing some stuff. And you
ready for that hug?
Oh man,
he gives the best hug.
He does, man. He's the neatest guy.
He disarms you right away with that hug. You're like, oh, shit.
What do I do now?
Yeah.
It's like we're besties.
I know, right?
He's just so awesome. And it's great because you can see on social media how much people enjoy being around him.
Yeah.
Because he goes to these events.
He's a good guy.
Just a great guy. So he's going to be there. I mean, we got the folks from Sign Garage are going to be there. Of course, Solomon, Amer Sport, Connor and Brittany are going to be there. Mike's going to be there. We're going to have shoe demos. So many amazing sponsors for this event. Mountain Luxury is going to be there.
Yeah.
So make sure you swing in and say hi to everybody. We even have a couple. I know David Tarkelson from the Beaverhead Endurance Runs is going to be down there talking about all his races.
Oh, I didn't know that. That'd be good to see him.
Yeah, and then, of course, we know Barking Goat Studios is showing up with some swag to sell.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
So he's going to be down. He's the one that's done quite a few of our logos.
Yeah.
He's a graphic designer.
So cool.
He's got some shirts being printed. People from Putts have stickers they're going to be handing out.
Yeah.
So we have all them. Mackenzie Exhibit has just more than stepped up for the Kids K.
Yeah.
All kinds of goodies for those youngsters.
That's going to be like
the highlight of the day.
Besides, going forward, I think that's our ace in the hole.
Yeah.
Is the Kids K.
It's awesome. I mean, it's the sad part. We could only do 100 kids this year, and I hope people don't show up to want to register because you have to almost turn them away. But it's sad to turn a kid away, right? But it's a free event. We've got like our max participation already set up, and we definitely don't want kids signing up and not walking away with anything.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right?
It's like all these kids that pre-registered and they walk away with stuff, and then some that don't. I mean, it's a bad thing. So. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And if you're in town, Gear 30 is going to be there, but swing in their shop. It's right down the street.
Yeah, if you need a water bottle.
Anything.
For the race. Because for the 10-miler, you're going to want a water bottle.
Yeah, and we will have water at the turnaround.
Scratch Labs.
Scratch Labs.
We'll be at the turnaround.
Because they're one of our sponsors.
It's a 10-mile race, and it's going to be hot.
It'll be warmer than maybe some are used to. It'll be in the evening, which is nice.
Still, it's 5 o'clock. It's going to be maximum temp.
Yeah.
It'll be 80 degrees probably.
Yeah, I'll be in my Speedo when you cross the finish line. It'll be that hot for me. But yeah, a lot of great sponsors for this race. I mean, the list goes on and on. American Nutrition's going to be, they won't be there, but they are one of our sponsors for the event. Man, who am I missing? I got to be missing somebody. The Clinic, Physical Therapy and Human Performance.
Those guys, they're going to be there, right?
They're going to be there, and they're going to do a little session. Nice. And we've talked about it because they're providing what are they called? The bands. What are those? There's a term for them. The bands that you can do exercises.
Like exercise bands.
Yeah, exercise. There we go. Yeah, the bands you do exercises with. Exercise bands. Those. And he's going to be doing a quick clinic because they're giving those away.
Nice. They did that last year.
They did. And
those are great to have.
They're a really good tool. We talk about those all the time.
Make your hips strong.
They will. The Ogden Trails Network is a sponsor. Doesn't look like they're going to have a booth there. I would be running the booth, and I'm not going to have time for it.
No.
But they're a great sponsor, obviously, for the trails. Excited to see a lot of the family from Gib Wallace. Because, again, I mean, it seems like I always meet somebody every year. It's like, oh, I'm Gibbs' nephew,
right.
Cousin, grandkid.
A lot of them are going to be on the trail helping with course marshal duties, volunteering on the trail.
Sweep.
Yeah, the sweeps.
But yeah, all the Wallace family. There's even some in the Kids K.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so cool. I'm so excited for this event. My problem is I always struggle with wanting to put on the perfect event, which never happens. So it'll be fun though, and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. Yeah, we absolutely will. We're throwing out all the stops we can think of for sure. To pull out the best event possible. And so we just hope everybody has fun. And those speedsters in the 10-mile, I'll bring some Crispies, crisp hundos, and then as you go down the list, I think we said fourth place gets $50.
Yeah, that pays for your entry.
Pays for your entry. And you get all the free swag. So, there's going to be some change being handed out, some crisp ones, plus Amer Sports are donating Sunto trainer watch for the first place people. So you're going to, and second place gets a pair of shoes, third place and fourth place get gift certificates. So it's going to be a fun day. I just hope we can sit and enjoy it.
Scratch Labs has something for, I don't know.
Somebody?
For somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope, and we're going to have a raffle on Friday night. We got some good Solomon stuff. We'll throw in some TrailManners stuff. So there's going to be a raffle Friday night on top of everything else.
Yeah.
I just hope, honestly, my goal this year is to make sure, obviously, it runs smooth, but I also want to take some time to enjoy it.
Yes.
Right? Because I want to enjoy it.
My big worry right now.
Yeah. I just want to enjoy this event just like everybody else. So, looking forward to it. Do you have any questions? There's still time to let me know. I think the newspaper's publishing my cell phone number. They called to do an interview.
When are they publishing that story?
I think it's going to be Friday.
Okay.
I'm not sure when, but Mark Saul from the Standard, who's one of my favorite writers for the Standard, he contacted me and did a little write-up on it. So hopefully they'll be there taking some photos as well.
That would be cool.
Let's move forward. Let's get the cruising here. So it's Joel's week for WDYFTY.
It is?
And
I picked last week.
You weren't even here last week.
No, we did it in your apartment last week.
Oh, we did? So it's my week?
It's your week.
Well, I'm not prepared. I mean, I saw some really cool ones.
Dude, this week was like one of the best weeks we've had.
Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was legit. And I think I already know who the winner is because I always look at them all and check them out. We'll skip that one while I research it a little better.
You fumble through it?
Yeah, because it will be a little fumble action. But let's go into Strava, and I'll do both at the same time. Then I'll let Joel take over for a minute. So Strava week distance was the Nicholas Budson again.
Nicholas Budson
at 1:27.7.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Run time was Jake Johnson 26:06. And climbing, our vert was dethroned this week. So Erin Hill's had last like 3 or 4 weeks. She's just crushed it.
Oh yeah.
Jake Johnson did this week 32,258. Oh
my gosh.
So a little bit of vert climbing. That might have beat my year so far.
Yeah, easily.
So yeah, congratulations to everybody. They're just crushing it then. What else we got going on here? So I'm going to start with the first Ask TrailManners. So we'll come back to WDYFTY after Ask TrailManners. We're stalling. We're giving because we had over almost 70 entrants this week.
That's good.
That's a lot.
I know.
So here's the first Ask TrailManners. We got 3 because I missed one last week. My apologies to Andrew Giles because we were trading emails and I missed the question.
Oh, okay.
So that was my fault. I'll always take responsibility for screwing up most of the time. And we'll start with his question, actually. So here's the question. What's your favorite real food to eat on course, other than cheese curds, of course? So real food, you're on a race course. What's your favorite real food? Like a solid food, like something that doesn't come prepackaged that you squeeze into your mouth as a gel form.
Burritos at the Gooseberry Aid Station on Design 100 course.
Pretty specific?
Yes, very specific. Those burritos at that aid station are a lifesaver.
Those are good.
Then a quick second, the pierogies at Scout Mountain Ultra.
Okay, I was waiting for the pierogies to pop up.
So those two are like they butt up. There's barely any space between first and second. So those are my go-to. And then quesadillas.
The quesadilla.
Is number 3 right there. So there we go. So very, Southwest Mexican oriented, right? I'm good with that.
That's good too. Like after, post, everything else, right? I mean, it's just good chow either way.
And then watermelon.
Watermelon's
so good on the course. I just can't do like cantaloupe.
Yeah.
There's something weird about that cantaloupe. I don't know if it's just too dense, where watermelon's a little bit more water-based, I guess.
So my problem with cantaloupe is I think it varies too much on ripe versus unripe.
It can, right?
That's
you get one that's a little too solid.
Or too soft. I think the flavor, for me, and I don't know if it's just because of where we live, but for me it's about watermelon. There is a range of what's good and not, right?
Yeah.
But I think cantaloupe's range is more broad. And maybe it's because it's not, most of the time, not as sweet. Like Crenshaw melons are a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on a cantaloupe. If it's not on, it's got to be like...
It's on point. It's got to be on point.
There can't be much vary.
No.
Like a watermelon, you can vary a little. And you're like, I can still eat it.
If the cantaloupe's underripe, like too early still, man, it can wreck your gut.
It can crush you.
Yeah. And honeydews, I don't know. Honeydews I like them, but not. Dude, watermelon's where it's at on the race course.
I'm with you. Watermelons. If it's the right ripeness.
Oh my gosh, you're just in there, and it's sloppy, and it's all over you.
And then 5-10 minutes later, you're like,
my stomach hurts.
It's like I got some goldfish bloshing around in there. But that's how I am with that.
Oh, man. I like potato chips, too. Not too many.
Potato chips are always one for me.
It's like this very small handful, you know. I like potatoes, salted potatoes on the course.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Not too much. Those are kind of like my go-to. We have friends that like the avocado. I think if I can pair the avocado with some turkey, like an avocado turkey slider.
Yeah, that'd be nice. On a tortilla or bread.
Yeah, that'd be all right,
I'd do it on a tortilla over bread.
Like mile 60, that'd be pretty good in a race.
I
see that going down pretty easily.
It's interesting that this question comes because I'm thinking it's like I really don't eat much solid food, and when I do, it is like a potato chip.
Yeah, it's potato chips, watermelon.
I don't eat a lot of fancy foods. I don't even eat pierogies.
Dude, you don't know what you're missing.
I'm just not a pierogi person.
So good.
If it was a pot sticker, I'd give it a whirl.
Yeah, I don't. Pot stickers on the course? Holy cow.
Chicken cilantro pot sticker, I'd probably eat that.
Yeah.
I'd probably fill my vest with them.
I tried pizza one time back at the Rain Bear. I tried pizza at mile 60. I didn't feel very good after that.
I know pumpkin pie is a big one for people.
Oh, I tried that once. I ate too much of it. It kind of ruined it for me.
I can't remember what race I was at, but they're like, oh, pumpkin pie right around the corner. I'm like, I'm finally going to try it. I got there. I'm like, oh, we're out, but we got mincemeat. I'm like, what the? But geez, why would you have that one?
Mincemeat would be okay. Small one.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. But yeah, I'm a potato chip guy. Not really. I can eat some avocado maybe, but I don't do a lot. Even in the hundreds, I look at it. I'll tell you what, though, one of my favorite memories of a race was the very first year of the Pocatello race.
Yeah.
I can't remember what distance I did. It was the very first year.
Right.
We're heading up towards Scout, and there's an aid station as you go up, and it was cold that year.
Yes.
And they had garlic mashed potatoes with ramen noodles.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked at it, and I'm like, no. And they actually booted me out of the aid station because I kept eating them. I'm like, this hits the spot.
What you could do with that is you could put that in a baggie.
And just splurt it out in your mouth like a gel. It was so good. And you know what's funny is I tried to make it at home like a week later.
It wasn't as good.
It wasn't as good.
Nowhere near.
But it was ridiculous that first year. I don't know whose concoction it was or what they decided to do.
Total dude food, right?
It was, man. It was like college food, dorm room food.
You know what could make that really good? You put a little flour in that mixture, and then you fry it up like a cake.
Okay. Top it with some Cholula.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. Just add that
That'd
little bit.
That'd be really good in the aid station, actually.
What do we call
just
those?
A little, just like you put it in like a little,
like a rice ball size.
Yeah, that would be good too, right? So we're taking it small, put it in the oven, and bake it, right?
That's a lot of prep.
That's a lot of prep, but holy cow, that would be good. Especially if you had a little sriracha on top.
Yeah, that'd hit the spot.
Yeah, your stomach might not like it, but
your taste buds will.
Your taste buds are going to be, hell yeah, we're not leaving the space station.
It's booting you out. So I hope that helps a little bit. I'm not a huge solid person, and for a few reasons. One, it's got to, because you don't do it, I don't do it in shorter distances, so for me it's like 50 to 100 mile races.
Yeah.
And it's so much of what sounds good.
Right.
And what their options are. So that's the first one. Next one we'll go to, hey, Eric and Joel, what's up? Happy spring and dry trails for you out west.
That's
I've been asked to help crew a friend for her second Vermont 100. Other than what she will be asking of me, how else can I be super prepared to support my friend through this amazing event?
Right.
I have never run an event of this distance, so no first-hand knowledge here. What makes a crew for a 100-miler work smoothly and efficiently? Also, I'd love to offer to pace. Another topic entirely.
Yeah.
It takes a village, so to speak, to get our community over the finish line. I feel honored and I'm ready to show up and support. What advice do you gentlemen have for a first-timer? Best, Amy from Vermont. So, Joe, I'll let you start with that one on what makes a great crew and then kind of the pacing side.
Okay, so you got to talk to your runner. You got to have that game plan of what they're going to want through the first, the middle, and the last part of the race. And you're going to either have a Tupperware container of that stuff that you can carry to that aid station. Don't make it so big that you can't carry. But it's just nice so that way you're organized, you're ready to go. Another thing that you might want to look into is Ultimate Direction's got this new roll that you can attach it to the back of your car seat, and it's got all these little pouches in it, right? So that way you can just grab stuff out of that real quick, and then you can take it off of the car seat, and you can roll it up, and you can sling it over your shoulder, and you can carry it to an aid station. So that's another way of carrying stuff to the aid station. I think just talking to your runner, knowing what they kind of want at certain sections of the race is going to be huge, and it's going to eliminate a lot of variables. That's definitely my recommendation.
And I think knowing your runner helps too. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
You know, you got to have that strong bond because there's could potentially be things said that you may not say normally, both ways. And you got to know like what level they want you to push them.
Right.
You know, are they wanting you to get them out of those deep, dark places?
Right.
To me, one of the biggest game plans is just say, hey, how long do you want in aid stations? Or do you want me to kick you out? Because that could be some issues there. But just knowing them, when to use humor, when to get on them a little bit, and just know their likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing because at the end of the day, as a crew, your job is to help them achieve this goal.
Yeah.
Whether it's changing their socks,
fast in aid stations.
yeah. Whether it's changing socks, whether it's some gross stuff like that. I mean, it's part of it. But at the end of the day, you're there for them.
Right.
And sometimes that means tough love.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in and out of aid stations. Joel nailed it.
Oh.
If you look at races, 100-mile races, I've seen people do really well, but then you look back and they spent 5 hours in aid stations, 4 hours, and that's significant.
Yeah, it is.
And most of the time you don't need that.
10 minutes or less in the aid station.
You know, sometimes you have that one where you're working on blisters or they're changing clothes in the night or stuff like that, but otherwise you want to get them going.
Yeah.
You know,
unless it's the Brighton aid station and
your
runner is dying, literally dying, throwing up, and somebody hands them some orange juice. Things go south quickly.
That doesn't sound like from experience at all.
No, it doesn't sound like experience at all.
Yeah, I think if they've run races like a 100-miler before sometimes, it's good to get a feel for what they would have done differently.
Right.
But a lot of it's just that communication beforehand, you know, and just say, hey, what's your expectation? What do you want from me? Because sometimes you just got to have that tough love.
Yeah.
And as hard as it is and as tough as it seems sometimes, at the end of the day, that's exactly probably what they needed.
Sometimes you'd be surprised.
Yeah, because let's face it, they're training for a monumental task, and you know, you don't want to drop the ball on your end because you want to be nice. You know, you're already friends. You're not there to make friends, right? So I hope that helps. As far as pacing goes, kind of the same thing. You just got to know how fast they want to go, what they need. But the biggest thing is just, keep reminding, well, number one, don't get lost. Number two is just make sure they're eating and drinking according to what they should be.
Unless they're throwing their guts up.
Yeah, and then just stay out of the splash zone.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, you can eat. No, you're not going to eat. Okay, let's keep going then.
Yeah. So a lot of it's by feel and just the person you're with. I know some people I've done stuff with you can really push, and some you got to coddle a little bit more. Yeah. And you just got to know what they need.
Patience. Oh, my gosh, patience.
It's a long day.
It could be a long day.
Yeah, just know that for sure. So hope that helps. And anybody else wants to chime in, please do, because this is the village. And so help Amy out, because we love Amy, man. She is always...
I'm hoping she's going to bring us some maple syrup.
Oh, some maple syrup.
Because I ran out this morning.
Yeah?
That's the first thing I thought about when I ran out this morning. I was like, where's Amy?
Well, the gentleman I met at Zion, Jeff List, he just told me he's got way too much maple syrup because he does it back east. So we have to find him. He's in southern Utah still somewhere. Like, he just retired. So. Nice. All right, so here's our last Ask TrailManners. Then we're going to jump into
The WDYFTY.
WDYFTY, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So next one. To the trail running, clip-on tie wearing, IP swiggin, cheese curd munching maniacs of Ogden.
That's right.
I am pretty new to the world of trail running, especially when it comes to knowing what's up in the competitive world. But it seems like I hear more and more about Americans on the podium in international races.
Right.
It also seems like the American women are pushing to the front of the field faster than their male counterparts. This is just my observation with limited perspective and absolutely no research. What do you guys think? Sincerely, your number one fan, at least in the Midwest anyway.
Right.
And this is the one that's super thought-provoking for me.
I know.
Because it's true, I think. And to me, my number one thing is here. So I can't say number one really, but here's my gist on jumping to the podium. One, I think 10 years ago, Americans didn't compete in Europe or overseas as much. Especially a lot of the big names. I'm just saying 10 years because that's a good round number. Yeah. And there wasn't a whole lot.
No.
Because I remember, because again, I hate to say it again, but when I was with the Pearl Ultra team managing that, I remember kind of those breakthrough years for the elites heading over there. And a lot of it had to do with they just weren't over there because we had so many big races in the U.S. Right? And also sponsorships changed.
Yeah.
So these athletes could now make it easier to afford to go overseas.
Right.
And I think part of that as well means they get to train more over there on the terrain as opposed to training in Arizona to go run a race in France.
Right.
So to me, that's a couple things. And then because I remember that breakthrough few years was really hard for the Americans.
Yeah.
They were getting heckled.
Yeah,
they were. Oh, bad. Because we'd send over a Jurek, Carl, some of the big names at the time, and they weren't performing well. And I remember that because they were getting heckled, like from Europeans on social media. Oh, this is funny. And there was cartoons, caricatures coming out of like the Americans doing poorly, DNFing. Anton was big during that time, and he had some issues over there. So that even breakthrough over there was rough. Yes. Americans took a lot of heat.
Good 6 years that they did not perform well.
Yep.
I mean, we had one or two.
Yeah.
That did well. Okay, let's not deny that.
No. Yeah, no, there's always been...
That consistency has not been there.
Well, and especially now where you're seeing more like Hayden Hawks going over and Courtney and Dylan and some of these other athletes that have done it. And a lot of it, too, to me, is they're getting out on the course. And every time, like Carl, I remember when Carl first... He was kind of one that helped break that cycle. And he was like, it's different over there.
It is.
They all use poles.
Yeah.
They do cut switchbacks.
Fast.
And they do. They run more than the lot here.
Like they full-on sprint out of the gate.
Yep. And so there was just this whole different world of racing in Europe. And I feel pretty lucky to kind of, like I said, I was kind of a part of that world. I never went over there, but just hearing a lot of the stories, like, holy cow, it's more of a carnival experience.
Right.
There's just so much going on. It's hyped.
Yeah.
And again, they got out, the Americans got out more on the trails. They understand kind of I won't say rules, but more of the culture of how they raced, because no one used poles over here.
No.
And now poles got big, and then they all wore a one-piece Lycra, and all these different changes.
Thank goodness we're not doing that.
Yeah, that didn't transfer over as much, but I think for me that's a lot of it. It just took some time for a lot of Americans to go over there and be welcomed.
Right.
It's like going somewhere and feeling out of place and trying to perform well and eating different food than you're used to.
You're not allowed to have pacers.
Yep. Just there's so many different nuances. So to me that's a big part of it. And now it's just but also I think the American trail scene is deeper now.
It is.
Before we had 5-10 people that were elite, maybe, and now you can't even make a list.
50.
Yeah, and so I think now there's just more exposure to them.
Oh, yeah.
And again, some of the Europeans are coming over here. They never used to come over here like they do now.
True. I mean, now that Western State's part of the World Trail Tour,
they'll
come over, and then everybody wants to get in the hard rock, right?
So that's changed because now they pick and choose their races. There's more races, so the field is more spread out.
Yeah.
It's not there's 4 races and all, the elites go to 4 races. It's like there's 30 and you can't pick them all unless you're Courtney. Then you do all of them and beat everybody.
Exactly right. She's like the next Ann Trayson, right?
Yeah. And that makes a good point, is even in the women's field, there wasn't as many elite female runners. I mean, you could name them on one hand at the time.
Yeah.
Nikki Kimball was in there, Ann Trayson, there's a few of those, and now the women are deeper.
A whole hand.
And I think, too, exposure, social media, all that, you just know more about these races where before you didn't.
You're seeing a lot more road people or kids coming out of college that are like, I'm going to go check out this trail scene. If I do well, I can actually make a decent living for a short period of time.
Yep, and that's a great point. Now you can make a living being an ultra runner if you're one of the best.
Right.
And so they can do these things.
Yep.
It's easier for them, for their sponsor to pick up their flight, keep them there for 4 weeks.
Right.
Feed them, have a chef, which some of them do. So I think there's a lot of variables to it, but it's a great question because it is just every year it just seems like Americans do better and better over there.
Yeah. I think this year you're going to see a pretty good performance. I mean, we're already seeing it. So Jim went and won at Tarawera. I mean, Dylan and Courtney here. Yeah.
And you've always had, like the Haydens have won. And,
he's about
Chrissy Mel.
Go race for a couple weeks in Europe.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he performs there.
So, I mean, it's a big difference. Being able to train on the course, getting more beta on the course, because I know that came back. People are like, hey, what was it like over there? And it's like, you need to train for this. The climbing's different. And I remember always a big thing was they cut switchbacks.
Yeah.
We're here in the U.S., you on the trail.
And
we had that problem at Speedgoat one year where Killian did what he was used to.
Right, exactly.
Because he was new to the U.S. racing, and he just
got
cut
tired of those
switchbacks
at the end.
He's like, I can just get there quicker if I just go straight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a lot of that as well. The culture's changed. I think there's more welcome. It's more welcome now. Like, Americans are welcomed there and vice versa, where at first they weren't.
No.
It was the total opposite, making fun of everybody. It's just the culture's changed. The dynamic of trail running's changed. The money's changed. The sponsors changed. Plus, like Joel said, they're just more younger, faster, stronger.
So what about
people.
We're seeing more women on the podium than maybe men.
That was one I was thinking about. And for me, again, I think there's more women running in kind of that upper echelon field.
On the American side?
Yeah, I do. And I think on European as well. Although I did read recently that Carolyn Chavarot's got some major health problems. She may never race again.
Yep.
So
there you go.
But, I mean, we've seen, and Joel mentioned again, we've had some fast women come from the roadside. Camille Herron. Some I don't know their backgrounds. I don't know Courtney DeWalter's background.
She ran cross country.
Okay. And I think there's a lot of that, too, because Sabrina Little, there's more and more cross-country runners and college athletes doing their thing.
Yep.
But I just think, to me, there's just more women in as a whole. You see that's changed quite a bit, especially in races where the difference is, not, 85-15 percentage-wise. It's definitely closed the gap in the participants. But I think, women are badass, man. I'm sorry. I mean, we've talked about it. You've mentioned a top 10 female at Western.
I think it's possible.
And I just think women are tough, man. There's an article I just read that women are tougher than men when it comes to suffering.
Duh.
We
all know that.
So I think that's my perspective, and I'd love to hear other people's perspectives because there is so many. I don't think there's one thing or two things. I think it's just a vast many things that can do that. So yeah. And now I'll get to Woody Footy because then we got to talk about a race. But, man, this week's Woody Footy is redonkulous. Like, just going through it. I mean, Jeremy Haddock had a great one on Dragon's Tail and Grandeur.
Right.
Was rad. Photo by the Craig Lloyd. Laura Sepa had one that she's finally in her trails in North Carolina after her move. What else we had? We had one from Kate Crooker from Mexico. We had a Mexico and a Thailand entry this week, excuse me. Lee Moss had some good stuff in City Creek. Brad Sween and Kolob Canyon, one of my favorite spots. Where was some of these other crazy ones that I wanted to make sure I brought up because they were rad? Tolbert, he was just in God's country. Nate Reese was on top of Baird on the putts course with his Woody Footy hat from winning it. Aaron Hill had a ridiculous one above City Creek. Unreal. Ashley Nordell was in Rogue River, which is just, it's gorgeous, man. Let's see, what are some of these other ones? There's a couple that, Bo Downing, Smith River pictograph in a cave. So the cave kind of framed the photo, which was rad. Garrick Aarons, Andrew Giles had another good one.
Wait a minute, back up.
Yeah, he did, man. It was single track along Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta.
Really?
And Saskatchewan's one of my favorite
Did it
words.
have a bunch of snow and white in the background?
No. It was kind of gloomy.
I wonder if you photoshopped that in there.
Chad Smith was on the Appalachian Trail as it passes over the New York State Thruway, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's obviously road there. Where was the one here? I'm gonna name a
so who's your winner?
My winner this week. Oh man, it's a tough one, but I really did like, and I'm going back to it because I skipped it on purpose so we could not talk about it too early. I really, really, really liked Eric Feree's Hyner 50K in the Pennsylvania Wilds.
Oh, nice.
He's got a killer pose run, and he's running. It's not a pose, but it's just the capture of it. Mm-hmm. Him running up an incline with a river way far in the background. It's just rad. So, Eric Feree, you're the winner. Nice. Congratulations. Please send me your mailing address, manners@trailmanners.com, and we'll get you set up. So, congratulations. Rad photo. Everybody, this was a killer week, so thanks for making it difficult on me, and I apologize everybody couldn't win. And now, let's wrap up here. So, we're talking about a race.
Yes.
It's been going on for 5 years.
Right.
This is its 5th year, and I highly encourage everybody to head over to their website and watch the video.
Yeah.
The video is ridiculous. So it's Run the Red. Mm-hmm. It's near Rock Springs, Wyoming.
North of Rock Springs. North and east.
Yeah, it's 25 miles out of Rock Springs.
Right.
The website is wyomingoutdoorcancel.org.
Yeah.
Run the Red, and we'll have that in our show notes. But it's a run for the advocacy of the Red Desert.
Right.
Because, lands get encroached upon all the time. You can register on Ultra Sign Up. They have a Facebook page, Run the Red Desert, and make sure you put 2 S's. It's not a dessert. It's desert with 2 S's. It's Saturday, June 2nd, which is obviously National Trails Day.
Right.
They got a 50K, a 23K, and a 5K. So there's something for everybody. It really is. But please go check out their video on their website because it is so cool. I'm not a sand guy. I've always said that, but this is one I would entertain for sure.
Right.
Just because of how cool it is.
Well, what's his bucket? The inventor of trail running said.
Gabe Joyce.
Yes, he said this is similar to Bear's Ears, but nobody's discovered it yet.
That's what I was talking to RJ on the phone for 40 minutes last night, and he's a salesman, man.
Yeah. And
not trying to. He's just so passionate because you can go close. You get to view Boar's Tusk, which is in the video, which is super rad.
Okay.
There's petroglyphs nearby.
I like those.
But you run on a sand dune to start. You run down a sand dune as the start.
Okay.
And then you go right after that near a historic ranch, and then you're just out in the craziest. There's like desert elk, which I didn't know existed. There's like a huge thing. They have trophy-sized white-tailed deer.
Okay.
There's all kinds of animals, like over 300 species of animals in this ecosystem, and it looks like sand. And there's this spring in the picture, and I'm like, hey, that's really cool. He goes, interesting fact. This is water from the mountains, the snow. It turns to ice. The sand dunes cover it to keep it iced, and then it turns into water.
Crazy.
And there's a lot more that goes into that. I'm just not as smart as everybody explaining it to me. But it's put on by the Wyoming Outdoor Council. They have great sponsors for this, but bring your family, explore the Red Desert. There's so many opportunities to check things out. They do a wilderness study area nearby. The first race was in 2014, and it was in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Wilderness Act of 1964. Okay. So there's a lot of history behind this race, and it really is for conservation of this amazing place. What I cannot tell, he's like, you ever been here? I'm like, I've never even heard of it.
I've seen the sign when I've driven on I-80 going over to like Laramie and Cheyenne, but I've never taken that hard left to go explore. Please take some time to head over and check out the video. The video is super rad. Right? And then I think this would be a great maybe adventure run.
Oh, yeah. Because it's on BLM.
Yeah.
There's free camping at the start.
There you go.
But go check it out. He's like, there's like a whole community there for the race.
Nice.
It's only been going on 5 years, and again, it's June 2nd. I know there's a lot of races that weekend, which is partially why I won't be able to make it this year.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely 1,000,000% on my calendar because it looks so cool.
It does look pretty.
Anything Gabe Joyce is a part of, is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that for sure.
And talking to RJ on the phone, passionate fella about what he's doing there. And let's face it, I mean, we always talk about, conservation. This is a really cool event. We're going to talk about it all month, but go check it out. We'll have some links in our show notes. But, man, it is so cool. Like, I was amped last night after I watched the video like 3 times because it was, like, super cool. So make sure you check that out, and we'll be talking more about that as time permits and comes this month. I think that's it for this week. I don't think we missed anything.
Lots to cover.
Lots to cover. We didn't even cover everything. But a huge shout-out to Sign Garage for sponsoring the Woody Footy. And, Eric, don't forget to send me your information so we can get your hat out to you. Hope to see everybody this weekend at the Ogden Trail Running Festival. Super excited. And then, it'll take a little pressure off us moving forward, and we can focus on a few other things, as well as running, which is coming up. But, yeah, thanks for listening. Don't forget to ask your TrailManners questions, and we'll hopefully see you this weekend. If not, we'll be out here next week.